back to the Divergent Comics YouTube channel. It's me, Gary, again, with another indie comic creator interview. Today, I have honestly one of the bigger indie comic creators that I know uh, on the YouTube channel. So it's very exciting for me. But
Wow.
today, I am going to be interviewing Karla, aka Moon The Storyteller. Karla, how are you doing? And can you tell the people about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you for saying, that introduction. I was shocked. One of the biggest people, I mean, that's an honor, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course.
Um, I'm doing good. I'm just kind of coming off the high of the finale, the X-Men '97 finale. Um, it was amazing. And it just inspires me to be like a better writer. All the storytelling and how they just pulled from here and there to kind of
Hmm.
create this cohesive story that even noobs like me can really appreciate.
Right.
Because I haven't been reading. I've only been reading comics for like 5 years, and there's still so much
Hmm.
um that I don't know. So this watching the animated series, kind of introduced me to a lot of the characters and a lot of the storylines.
Right.
But this one, X197, it was just like it was just an amazing few weeks. I think it's ranging 9 weeks, 8 weeks we've had it, so
Yeah.
it was just really phenomenal. So things like that just make me want to be a better writer. Just aspire to be a better writer and really pull and push at people's emotions and like
Hmm.
tear them up and rip them apart and throw them away and bring them back again.
Right.
So yeah, but I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I definitely agree with you. I haven't watched the finale yet. So we're recording on a Wednesday, which is the last Wednesday that we will have X-Men '97 for a while. But I plan on watching it sometime before this weekend, and it has been a roller coaster for sure.
Mhm.
Um, from episode 5 with Remember It, to episode 7. That was another big one.
Mhm.
Finding out everything from there. So X-Men '97 has been huge, and I definitely agree. Like the writing for this has been absolutely phenomenal,
Mhm.
and it definitely is in huge inspiration for telling very emotionally depth, but also uh, really good character stories.
Mhm.
Um, so, kind of jumping into this because, as I mentioned, like you're one of the biggest indie comic creators I've been following for a while. Um, can you kind of tell the people about like your journey into becoming a comic book creator?
Yeah, so it really started back in 2018 when I saw Black Panther.
Mm,
And every interview that people may have seen me in, I always go back to Chadwick Boseman. He is um, one of the most phenomenal actors. And I speak in the present because his spirit and his artistry still lives with us and
hmm.
still is with us and motivates not only the people in his life but motivates all of us, all of his fans who saw that performance and his other performances too.
Hmm.
um that really kind of opened my eyes to like, wait a minute, let me see what's going on in Wakanda. What is this? And so that was kind of like my first like dive into the comic book world, because I've always loved the comic book movies.
Hmm.
Back my very first comic book movie I think was Batman with
Mm,
Michael Keaton. I
that's a
think
good
that was
one.
the first one, and then X-Men, right?
Hmm.
So, but I never really was inspired to open up a comic book.
Right.
So, but back in 2018, I opened up my first comic book, and I think it was like Wonder Woman. I don't remember what it was, but it was Wonder Woman, and then eventually the Wakanda Forever series,
Hmm.
and then just slowly kind of and then I jumped into the indie world, and
Hmm.
so like I've read like probably close to 50 indie comic books, and so I said I'll see, I'm going off on a tangent. I told you I was. So how I got into writing Luna was, so Chad, going back to Chadwick Boseman. he inspired me to start writing again, because
Okay.
I've always loved to write, but but being married and having a kid and
Mm-hmm.
getting working, you kind of push all that aside. So I started writing again, and I started writing a novel.
Mm.
Um, but I got bored, and I was like, "This is too long. I can't do it."
Yeah.
So I was reading comic books at the time at that time. So I was like, maybe I could turn it into a comic book.
Mm.
So I connected with this incredible artist, Ian, who now has his own like art studio,
Okay.
and for the next year we were creating Luna issue 1. And later in that time period, um, I forgot what month it was, but I met up with Anaji Rouse, who is the creator of Odina,
Mm-hmm.
one of the titles under Concrete Comics. And that's how I got introduced to Concrete Comics.
Okay.
So, and then the rest is, written is in the books.
Right.
So, but that's how it was. It was that one performance by Chadwick that inspired me to dive into this world.
Yeah. Sometimes that's all it takes. It's just
Mm-hmm.
that one piece of inspiration, that one performance,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it kind of can take you, to depths that you probably would never think of. So
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely great to hear. Chadwick definitely put on a great performance as
Mm-hmm.
T'Challa, and he killed every role he was in. So um, definitely understand that. Um, so you mentioned that you had started writing a novel at first for this
Mm-hmm.
project that eventually became a comic. How much of that novel is still true to the comic, or have you just changed most of everything to make that into a comic?
It is true to the comic. I actually had to take a lot out of the comic book, of course, to fit it into issue 1.
Mm-hmm.
But I know eventually I will tell, the whole story. I think I wrote like about 5 chapters. Um, and it led up, and it was to the events of issue 1. So
Okay.
there was a lot more that I could have shared, in issue 1, but obviously page count, page count, wouldn't allow me to tell the everything that I really wanted to tell. Like I really wanted to dive into, how Luna was feeling at certain moments, especially on her wedding day. I wanted to really go into her relationship with her parents and how that connects to, what the events that happened in issue 1. So, but one day, hopefully, I can tell more. Hopefully,
Hmm.
one day I can tell, though, fill in those pieces, almost like deleted scenes.
Oh, that would be nice.
Mhm.
So up to this point, I haven't had a chance to actually fully read Luna.
Mhm.
I've definitely seen a lot of the pages, and I've definitely admired the art, and I'm going to read it soon. But
Yes.
this entire project, going from a novel to a comic and kind of like working on that, what was the inspiration behind the actual story of Luna?
Luna was a figure in my subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
She showed up in my dreams. For years, she would show up in my dreams, but she didn't have a name. She really didn't have a face.
Mm-hmm.
But she was always there. I knew it was this person that was not me, but it was a part of me. It's
Mm-hmm.
just weird. A subconscious dream, all that stuff was really weird. But I
Right.
feel like there's a part of that is true to us.
Mm-hmm.
So she always would show up. And then later, so when I saw Black Panther and kind of got, really dived into this world, this comic book lore, I was like, well, maybe I should start telling her story, because obviously she's
Mm-hmm.
trying to tell me something.
Right.
And ever since that day, I decided to tell her story. I have not dreamed about her at all, ever again.
Wow.
So I felt like that was the universe's way of telling me, you need to write this story.
Yeah, right.
So,
Well, that's nice. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say it like that. So that is a unique way to, approach it. And, just based off of, the reach and the connection that people have with the story, you can tell that it really resonates with everyone. So um, I guess my next question for you, um, you go by Moon the Storyteller on most of your social media. I believe all your social media.
mm-hmm.
What was uh, the motivation behind that name, and how does that kind of keep or motivate you to continue to write?
So I want people to know me. Moon is obviously a connection to Luna because Luna is moon in Spanish. So I figured what better way to connect myself with this story is to call myself Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And the moon, just kind of off on my tangent again. The moon is one of the most underrated, um, celestial bodies. Everyone gives props to the sun. Everybody loves like we always talk about asteroids.
Mm-hmm.
Asteroids are always like the main character in these films. Everyone always talks about stars, fallen stars, black holes, but rarely people ever talk about the moon. And we've had a few films that centered with this moon lore, but we haven't had really, besides Sailor Moon, obviously,
Right.
but we haven't had a lot of characters and a lot of stories that really celebrate the moon
Mm-hmm.
in mainstream media. Now, I'm sure there's other indie creators who use the moon in their stories, but in mainstream media, I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I really, 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 you can tell my child, my kid, the kid is coming out in me when I talk about it. But I want people to just celebrate the moon and for what it is. And without the moon, there would be no Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Earth would not be in the state of stability that it is now. You take the moon away, the Earth is going to enter into chaos.
Yep.
So and that's a lot like the Black woman
Mm-hmm.
is. The Black woman is very underrated. We're not really talked about or celebrated the way we should. Now there are a few figures in our culture who are Tina
Right.
Turner, Janet, Beyonce. Beyonce. I love Beyonce. And I am a Hive member. I became a Hive. I became a Hive member when she came out with Cowboy Carter.
I
So
was about to ask about that.
yeah, I'm officially a Hive member.
Yeah.
But there are a few, but in general, we aren't considered. Um, we aren't considered the main characters.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another reason why I wanted to really center this story around the moon and our connection to the moon. And then, of course, the storyteller part is I want people to think I write good stories. So, I want people, when people see me, I want people to think of, oh, she's a storyteller. So she's going to write a good story.
Right.
Oh, she knows what she's talking about. So,
No, I like that. I really like that connection between the moon and Black women because I agree. Black women don't get the love and the attention that they deserve.
Mhm.
We look at so many statistics, and Black women literally are in leaps and bounds above most other demographics in so many statistics, whether it be entering the workforce, whether it be college education, all of
Mhm.
that. So, you all definitely deserve to receive much more praise and much more adoration than you do. And comparing that with the moon, where you take the moon away, like I said, there would be utter chaos. The moon helps control tide patterns. The moon regulates sometimes the Earth's magnetic field. So
Mhm.
things like that are things that are taken for granted, and that comparison between the moon and Black women is spot on, and I love that.
Thank you.
So I kind of want to ask a non-comic related question.
Mhm.
Um, so you mentioned that you met Anji, the creator of what was it? The
Odina?
Odina. Yes, that's what it
Yes.
was. Uh, and I've seen a lot of that story as well, and I believe I actually read the first book with that one.
Mhm.
So outside of creators in concrete, who else in the comic book creating world or any comic book created world would you like to meet and kind of sit down and pick their brain?
Um, well, I have regular discussions with Midnight Comics. Lloyd and Tosh. They are phenomenal storytellers, very versatile. Something that I really aspire to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I've kind of picked their brains on several occasions about how they approach, this and that, and how they weave these different stories into one, cohesive story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Who else would I love? Well, of course, Bo DeMaio. I would love to sit down and talk with him and like how he kind of balances, trying to pull from the comic, but yet still really create this new narrative that we now it's okay. This is it. This is
Yeah.
this is comic book accurate, even though that particular moment may not be exactly in the comments. He
Hmm.
he created it, and he turned he took this line of dialogue, and created this moment.
Hmm.
And not only that, I think anybody can put together lines of dialogue and a narrative, but it takes a great writer to put it in, arrange it in such a way that it makes people feel something.
Hmm.
So I can't. There's a lot of other um, indie comics. Like I have a whole stack of indie comics that I really like and enjoyed. But I think those are the top two. Outside of Concrete,
Hmm.
Midnight Comics is a really great. Um, they're really a really great power couple in the comic book industry, and then of course Bo DeMaio, and he needs to come up with his own comic book series. Like I think that would be like $1 million, comic
Yeah.
book right there. So
Especially if he does the X-Men the way he's been doing X-Men 97.
yeah.
So yeah. Um, so I don't know if you're like me. I know for me, I love to consume a lot of different genres of entertainment so that I can get a wide breadth of storytelling and get a better understanding of how other people approach it. Do
Mhm.
you have any genres that you prefer when you're either reading comics or watching TV or movies or anything like that?
For comic books, superhero, genres. I think all the books I've have are all centered around superheroes. Except for one. There's one that is not, and that I really like that series. Um, as far as TV, I could do a lot. I don't do horror. I don't do
Mhm.
scary movies or anything like that. Because I don't want nobody sitting in here at night with me. It's just the three of us. If it's a fourth person, if I feel a fourth person in the house, I'm
Right.
running. So I don't want nobody up in here with us. That's not paying rent. So I don't do horror. I don't do like the witches or occult or anything like that. But I love drama. I
Mhm.
love to consume drama, like series. I love mysteries.
Mhm.
What two of my favorite series, and I think they both I think one got canceled. With the other Black girls, it was like a mystery, kind of like
Yeah, I've heard of that.
suspense. Off of Hulu.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, that got canceled. And then Black Cake. Black Cake was another
Hmm.
series that I enjoyed. It's a kind of a mystery
Okay.
drama kind of thing, and it's also on Hulu. And they both Black female centered, and it was just I just love those. I love put together series, and I like to
Mhm.
consume them. I don't like to be left on the cliffhanger like X-Men did to us. I just want to read. So I'll usually let the whole series you know
Right.
be on there first before I consume it, because I really just want to I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
No, yeah, I definitely get that. I hate a cliffhanger, but I actually at the same time love it, just because
Mhm.
it leaves so much open. And I
Mhm.
love the dialogue and the conversations that come about afterwards.
Mhm.
Trying to figure out what's going to happen next. How's the story going to continue? So it's definitely a love hate relationship with cliffhangers.
Mhm.
So, as we start to wrap up, I just have one more question for you, and I feel like this is one that everyone has kind of had in the back of their mind if they're watching this on YouTube. But after Luna, what else are you cooking up?
After the Luna series is over, I would love to. Obviously, there's two spinoffs that I would love to do with
Okay.
Luna. I can't tell you the first one, but the second one would be Zoe. He's gonna be he was introduced in issue one, but he has a lot of backstory. He's not as, of course, probably not as complex as Magneto,
Okay.
but he's gonna be one of those characters that you do love, and you like. Look, I can't argue with that. That boy bad, but I can't argue with that. He's gonna be one of those characters. So I would love to do like
Mm,
a spinoff, like a little, maybe a 6 book run of his story.
nice.
Um, and then I would love to write some other projects. Like I
Mm,
would really love to eventually write for Storm.
mm,
I don't know if they would ever pick a black female writer to write for her, but when they do, I would like to be in the running. Or at least write a book, write or even a mini story for her.
okay.
I would love to. There's 2 other projects that I always, I kind of written down, kind of started writing. One is about a black female cop,
Mm,
and so that in itself could tells you how complex that's going to be.
right.
And then there's another, like a kind of um, a sci-fi, but it's set in the past. It's like
Mm,
futuristic, but it's set in the past. It's set in our past. It's our future, but it's going to be told like it happened years
okay.
back. So, um, yeah. So I just want to continue to write and create. And and I hope Luna will be on TV one day. I don't know if she is properly formatted for a movie, but
Hmm.
I would love to see her like in an animated series, maybe like a limited animated series where I can just tell her full story and then, kind of branch off into these different worlds that the Luna story will create.
That sounds
So,
awesome. I
oh, thank
definitely can't wait to see how all of this unfolds. I'm really excited to, read not only Luna Part One, but read the rest of the series that you have out or that you have created, and just really get more of the content and the writing that you have out because I definitely can see just the greatness that's going to come from it. So
Oh, thank you.
of
Thank you.
course.
That means a lot to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on here and really just sharing your story and talking comics with me for a little bit. Um, before we go, do you have any social media that you want to promote or anything where people can find you and get more of your work?
Yes, yes. So I can be found at Moon The Storyteller on Instagram and TikTok. And then also, if you want to purchase Luna issue number 1, you can go to concretecomics.com. So concrete spelled with a K, comics.com.
Yep. I will link all of that in the description below, so you all can click on that link. And last thing before we wrap up, for those of you who consistently follow the YouTube channel, I am going to be pivoting from the comic book creator interviews. So this will be my last one for the year. I'm going to take a month off because I am going to Augusta Comic Con next month in June. It's going to be June 1st, so it'll be probably a couple of days after I drop this video. But then come July, I will start a new series where I'm going to be hosting a game show, and I will be bringing on different YouTube creators and doing trivia. So that's going to be fun, and I'm really excited to launch that. But thank you again, Karla, for jumping on here and really talking about comics with me. And for everyone watching, hope you all have a good one. And again, this has been Divergent Comics, and have a great day.
Thank you.